The first-class cabin was filled with the quiet hum of conversations and the occasional clink of champagne glasses. Well-dressed passengers settled into their plush seats, adjusting their designer coats and scrolling through their phones. The flight attendant moved smoothly through the aisle, ensuring everything was in order. Then, a man stepped in, a man who clearly didn't belong. His clothes were worn, his shoes scuffed, and his hair unkempt. As he walked in, eyes followed him, some with mild curiosity, others with thinly veiled disapproval. He made his way to an empty first-class seat and sat down. Immediately, a passenger nearby scoffed, "Excuse me, but this seat isn't for beggars." Before we continue, tell me, where are you watching this from? If you love powerful stories like this, make sure to subscribe so you never miss out. Now, back to the story. The homeless man looked up, his face unreadable. "I have a ticket for this seat," he said calmly. The flight attendant frowned, stepping forward. "Sir, may I see your ticket, please?" The man reached into his pocket and pulled out a crumpled boarding pass. The attendant glanced at it and hesitated. It was valid. He truly had a first-class seat. The passenger who had insulted him wasn't satisfied. "This has to be a mistake. How could someone like him afford first class?" The murmurs in the cabin grew. The flight attendant's uncertainty was evident. She looked around, as if expecting someone to intervene. And then, just as the tension reached its peak, a deep voice broke through the noise. "Is there a problem here?" The cabin fell silent as the pilot walked into the first-class section. His uniform was crisp, his presence commanding. The passengers immediately straightened in their seats. The flight attendant turned to him, relief on her face. "Captain, this man claims to have a first-class ticket, but—" The pilot held up a hand, stopping her. He turned to the homeless man, studying him for a moment. Then he smiled. "It's been a long time," he said. The homeless man's eyes widened slightly. "Yes, it has." Confused whispers filled the cabin. The rude passenger looked between them, his frustration growing. "Wait, what is going on? Do you know this man?" The pilot nodded. "More than you can imagine." The captain turned to the passengers. "This man isn't just a passenger. He's the reason I'm standing here today." The first-class passengers exchanged baffled glances. The homeless man shifted uncomfortably. "You don't have to do this," he murmured. The pilot ignored the hesitation. "Years ago, when I was struggling to make ends meet, this man, he was a teacher back then, gave me a place to stay when I had nowhere to go. He helped me get back on my feet. He believed in me when no one else did." The judgmental passengers were now silent, their faces filled with realization. The rude passenger swallowed hard. I didn't know." The pilot's eyes were firm. "No, you didn't. And that's the problem. Too often we judge people by their appearance without knowing their story." The flight attendant lowered her gaze, feeling ashamed for how she had hesitated earlier. The other passengers shifted, embarrassed by their own assumptions. The pilot then smiled at the homeless man. "Today, it's my turn to return the favor. Enjoy your flight, sir." As the plane took off, the atmosphere in first class had completely changed. The same passengers who had judged the man now treated him with kindness, some even starting polite conversations. The rude passenger sat quietly, deep in thought. He had learned a valuable lesson about humility. The homeless man looked out the window, a small smile forming on his lips. Life has a way of reminding us that kindness never goes unnoticed. Have you ever witnessed something like this? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more powerful stories, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss out. Until next time.